It's now been 20 days that I have used these things. Okay, taking them off for, I guess, the last time. So, again, apparently I'm neuroprimed. So, let's see what the results are. Now, before I do anything else, I will simply do the 2-finger exercises at this tempo. What I'll do is I'll start with my weakest pair, so my hand isn't tired, and I'll see if I've achieved So I don't know if you can hear that so well, there's a lot of rain in the background today, but basically it's better than it was, but as I go up, as I get around here, my fingers start to collapse and get a bit bad, and then as I come down there's still that skipping. It's less pronounced, but it's still there. So for that first experiment I would have to say no. Okay, let's go on and let's try the triple finger exercise, or the triple time exercise. Let's get a bit more volume. Okay, even that tells me what I need to know. It's better. Certainly better. Some of the mud is gone. The fingers are a little bit more accurate, but that's what I'd expect after 20 days of practice of doing this every day. I haven't shown an improvement beyond the improvement that I would expect merely from practice, and it's certainly far from perfect. So no, I didn't achieve what I wanted in that area either. These exercises are still all to be done. I'm just testing stuff out at the moment. Let's go on and try out classical gas. Now I'm going to do classical gas. Let's see how it sounds. So what did I think about that? Well, at the start there was some hesitation and a little bit of finger fumbling. That's because I think when I was recording it, it suddenly occurred to me, oh, I have to get this take right because, you know, I'm only going to record this in one take. I can't mess it up. And so that sudden little bit of extra pressure just made my fingers hesitate. And that's a natural thing, but it also tells me that I haven't achieved that absolute freedom, communication, autonomy that I want with the instrument. So the other thing I found then is that that would be a bit like performing it on stage. You get up in front of a bunch of people and you only get one take. You have that moment where you think, oh, I can't stuff this up. And so when I'm playing other instruments, I know how to overcome that. Here, I couldn't, and I had that little finger fumble. At other places, my fingers had near misses. They hit strings without even velocity, all that sort of, without even strength, all that sort of stuff. So, no, that's not a performance that I would consider to be one that is acceptable to get up and do on stage. I'll continue working on the piece, actually. I really like the piece, and it's nice to have it under my fingers a bit better than it was before, but I still have a way to go with it. What's my conclusion about the Halo Sport headphones? At the outset, what happened was I thought something was happening. I put these headphones on and I thought, oh, this is really working, because I was concentrating hard on my hands. And so for about 3 or 4 or 5 days, I was really concentrating on what I was doing, much more than anything else, the novelty of the headphones, the concentration on the practice, and I improved. And I improved quite remarkably. But that was a combination of focused practice and I think a bit of the placebo effect. After 5 or 6 days, I started to notice that, you know, there was still some ragged edges and they weren't necessarily coming off as much as I would expect them to if I had something extra on top of the normal progress of practice. By about 10 days, cynicism had set in. Once cynicism set in, the headphones basically stopped doing anything at all. They were just a burden, and I ceased to notice any effect from them. I kept practicing, and of course I kept improving, and the improvement I got was the normal improvement from practice. So I can't say for other people whether they work or not. I don't want to criticize the science behind them. I'm not a neuroscientist. I'm just a guy who tried them out for myself and found that, in my opinion, they do not do anything that simple focused practice does not already do. Now, of course, people have reported tremendous results with these, and you've got to ask yourself why. Why did they have those results and why didn't I? Possibly their brains are better than mine. Maybe there's something wrong with my brain. Maybe it just doesn't work acceptably at a high enough level. The other possibilities are that, well, the biggest one is the placebo effect. I think that what was happening was people were putting these things on, they were thinking, this will make me better, this will make me focus, and of course, that had that effect. It made them focus, and it did make them better. It wasn't the headphones, it was simply the fact that they felt and believed that they would become better. So that placebo effect, I think, is a big part of it. There are a few other things. The first thing is that when you put them on, and you ramp them up, and you have these things here, you do feel it. You probably noticed in some of the videos, if you watched all of them, if you were that silly, that you can see the marks from where they are. And it's a little bit painful. It's like cough medicine. If cough medicine tastes great, you don't think it's doing you good. But if it tastes a bit bitter and unpleasant, you think, this must be good for me. Or, you know, the suds in washing up liquid. You know, the suds aren't strictly necessary, but people want them so they know the washing up liquid is working. So you put this on, it's a bit painful, and you think, it must be neurosciencing me, gosh. The other thing is that using the app,
there are great graphics and the words are all very fun and vague, ramping up, start training now, neuropriming started, hyperplasticity achieved, this sort of stuff sounds really, wow, sciencey. As I say, I'm not a neuroscientist, but I suspect that stuff is not terribly sciencey. I suspect that real neuroscientists would largely kind of sneer at it and say, gosh, look at those rubes out there who think those are real things. Ha 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 ha. And so I suspect there's a lot of that going on. There's a lot of marketing stuff. I think also the reason why this has a certain success in the marketplace, perhaps, is that it's really, really hard to measure success. It's really, really hard to measure growth, especially in something like music. It's really hard to say, I'm 10% better at practicing the guitar than I was 20 days ago. And how on earth do you measure that? It's hard enough to answer the question, how good a guitar player are you? I'm a beginner, I'm intermediate, I'm advanced. There aren't any real sets of rules for this. Everyone has their opinion, but when it comes down to it, it's very, very hard to define that. And so when you're talking about something as nebulous as improvement in performance, it's very much a grey area, and for the majority of people who get this stuff, they won't have access to clinical trials, they won't have access to a way of measuring their performance as accurately as, say, athletes in a lab or in a sports institute might. So these fit into that solid grey area. They cost quite a lot of money. These are $749, which I'm going to get back. And when you pay a lot of money for something, you do think it's got value. So, Placebo Effect, it hurts, it deals with a very nebulous, very grey area, and it's expensive. All of these things add up to sort of make you believe that it's probably working. But in my case, over the 20 days, once that faith was gone, so was any real effect of the headphones. So, for me, Halo Sport did not work. I'm sending it back. I'm grateful to the company that they offer a money-back guarantee, and I think that's very good of them. Okay, so back they go. That's the end. Thank you for watching.